All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Movie Talks and Chill. We're your hosts. I'm Tony Tschirhart.
I'm Kevin Butts.
I'm Doug Tschirhart.
And I'm me off. And I'm Patrick Wall. Oh wait,
Scratch that. Reverse it.
The last two you need to reverse.
You gotta run before you can crawl. Wait a minute.
All right. Well, first, welcome back, Doug, again, man.
Thank you.
After Sunscreen, and unfortunately we didn't get to talk then because you had that. You really.
Yeah, I lost my voice, and I was just running around like a crazy man as usual.
Yes.
So. Yeah, no, thank you very much.
And you're looking nice. I like your tailor.
Oh, you like that?
Yes.
Had to support today. I mean, I got to get ready to take over.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait a minute.
Well, your name's already third now.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Shit, I just cut myself out. I'm now the guest speaker.
Exactly.
So we wanted to, first of all, we'll want to talk about a few things, but, kind of give us a recap, like how Sunscreen went. Obviously, we were there, but, we didn't get to see all the other stuff.
Yeah, we secluded you guys to the mezzanine, or whatever they call it, the balcony.
Hey, that was great. First of all, it was great. It was great turnout.
Hey, I got some great sniper shots up there.
A lot of amazing interviews. Everybody was great.
Yeah,
a lot of
like everybody was, really happy with it. I
got to learn to play a new board game.
Oh, yeah, so you did learn how to play twice?
So we did a couple rounds of it.
Shanghai Moon.
No, I thought it was High Noon.
It's High Noon.
High Noon.
High Noon.
It's like the drink High Noon.
Yeah.
Oh,
But we had it before it was...
We were talking.
Right.
There was an expansion where they were adding samurais, and then we got on a whole Shanghai Noon with Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson tangent.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, God, that movie. I forgot about that movie.
I think Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson forgot about that.
There's
think
a reason
they want
why.
to.
There's a reason why.
I don't think they
about
did
that
because they
movie.
had to make a second one.
They did?
Yeah.
It must have done pretty well if it did a sequel, but who knows? No, that's great. Yeah, that's on my buddy Dwight's game, High Noon. But no, I'm glad you guys had a good time. I know you had like 6 episodes out from it, or more than that. 8 episode. I was going to say. Mm-hmm. Because it was 2.
Yep. Yeah, we had to knock out 2 a week.
Yeah. Hey.
Not
nothing
bad
wrong with that.
Not a bad
not
problem.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was very successful. I would say, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but somewhere between 6,000 and 8,000 people throughout the weekend. Parties were fun. I don't know if you guys got to. You guys went.
I did not.
You did not.
I did not.
I was at the James Museum.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of you guys, I think, was.
Yeah.
So you were at James.
That day, my allergies kicked my ass.
Well, you missed a good party.
Oh, I know.
It was fun. It was really
It was the only one I was planning on going to.
Yeah.
And Pollen Count was like, I don't fucking think so.
Well, our weather here's been nuts anyway. In general.
It's brutal.
But yeah, no, it was a big success. Great parties. A lot of really cool people. No huge celebrities this year like we have in the past, but even that didn't matter. Like, it was still packed, to the brim. We had 2 movies, including one that I produced, sell out twice,
Nice.
2 different screenings. So my movie, I Feel Fine, and then this movie called Savage also sold out, but they didn't do 2 screenings.
Did you have a hand in Savage, or did Scatter Brothers at all?
No, other than we're just friends, and we don't have to get our name on it, but like Corin Nemec's in that movie as well.
Yeah.
So they called us to see if we could get him in touch with their producers and stuff, because they needed an actor for that role, and they said, "Hey, do you think you can reach out?" And so other than that, no. But it's a great movie. We all try to. That's one thing great about this community, especially with Sunscreen being sort of in the middle of it, is we all work together. There's no real animosity or we're not, saying, "Oh, I'm not going to help you because you're doing the same thing I am." It's more, "Hey, can I get your help or your feedback?" Because even like Savage, they send that to me early and said, "Hey, take a look, any notes," that kind of stuff, and vice versa. Like, we all kind of try to work together at least. But yeah, no, it was very successful. Had a great time. You guys saw. Sometimes the lobby was just packed.
Oh yeah.
People, AMC, love them. They are so easy to work with. Great theater too. Down in St. Pete. I always recommend Sundial, and I always tell AMC, don't tear that one down, but you have to.
Yeah.
Unless they forced it.
Well, it's really cool too in there. It's got that it's neat with the big chandelier set up in the back and the wall painted.
Yeah,
up
it's a little old school, like back in the 90s.
Yeah, it looks like almost like a theater house.
Yeah,
theater house.
There should be like a marquee up front with all the light bulbs on it.
Yeah,
exactly. There should be. There's not. A lot of that's probably just because of the as you saw, there's all the rest of the
Courtyard.
the courtyard was
yeah.
like torn off.
The actual sundial.
And they started it,
was gone
yeah.
now.
And they started that like 2 weeks before our event. We're like, what the heck?
You'd think the city would have told you when you got the permit.
No, they don't. They don't work with us as much as we like. We're working on that for next year. But yeah, no, it was very successful. We're heading into our 20th year.
Yep.
In fact, on July 1st, which is going to be here before we know it, because this is June, it is the first day. July 1st is our first day of submissions.
Awesome.
So if you have a film, get them in early, get them in, the earlier you get them in, really, the better, I say anyway, because people are going to watch them. And then we're going to be able to, if you wait until the end, we're scrambling to watch films.
Yeah.
And it almost has to be this, like, really, really capture us early. I'm not saying don't do it. I've said this in the podcast before, I think. Last year I probably said the same thing. But yeah, it starts July 1st. So it is our 20th year. We're trying to step it up next year. So, and we have every year we've stepped it up. So hopefully, this year won't be any different.
Well, I do have one quick question because it was
Yes.
something I promised one of our guests at the film festival that I would ask and follow up with you guys on. So it doesn't for the film submissions.
Yes.
If they've already done a movie, like let's say they did a movie last year, but they for some reason didn't know about the film festival at the time or didn't have time to get it in, can they submit that for this year? Does it have to be something that was basically done within the past year? Or so?
No,
I don't think I've
no.
ever asked that question.
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. We do have some rules. If your film, we give you a leeway of a couple years.
Okay.
But like we've had people say, like, put a movie in and it was shot in 2015.
Yeah.
We're not going to probably accept that.
No, yeah.
It kind of goes back to how many people have seen this already. But yeah, there's definitely, films that like, and it's also because of how the festival circuit runs.
Yeah.
As of now, like if your movie's done now, we're at the far end now of your festival run because all the festivals go on until the end of the year. Or actually, until like October, and then they end, and then they start back up again really in January when Sundance happens, and then they start trickling through. So we know that if you shot a movie even late last year, it may just be getting done now. In fact, we had a couple people that actually sent in a like, almost like a screener version. It's not done, like a work in progress version of their movie. We liked what we saw. And then, but because it said work in progress, we would contact them if we wanted to put it in and say, "Is it done? Is it ready?"
Right.
And if they said, and a lot of times they'd scramble or whatever, but we even said, like, if it's not, finish it, we'll put it in the next year's.
Yeah.
So I've already got like 3 movies that I really enjoyed from last year that I'll probably put in this year because they just weren't ready. But as a filmmaker, I don't want to rush you.
Yeah.
To do it. Like even I'll give, I'm not going to throw him under the bus or anything, but even Savage, like they were still in post up to like beginning of April, so which is fine, and we know them, so we worked with them to get it in. But there was a point when I said, well, if it's not going to be done, guys, don't rush it. We'll put it in next year, but a lot of people don't want to wait till that long.
Yeah.
And I think that was part of Ryan and even Brian, who were on the Savage team. We're like, no, we're going to do it now. And it worked out fine. And that does happen. But we encourage you to finish your film. Like, don't be proud of it. Don't put it in just to put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But if you want to submit because you think it might be done, because I know that it always isn't,
Right.
Even our film was pretty much done in March. Like, we were still music and sound and picture. We were still kind of really locking in.
Yeah.
And so that was a long-winded way of
that's
answering
fine.
your question,
No,
but
that's-
please
Answer yes.
submit.
Well, the reason why I asked, so when we met, and I can't remember, it was one of the two gentlemen, because to me they seem very similar, but it was either the kid Taryn or there was another kid that were up there. One of them had said, while I'm here, they were from LA, and he's like,
It was Taryn because he did a movie called Hoodie.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what it was, and he had completed it this past year or this year, and or end of last year, whatever,
Yeah.
2023, beginning of 2024, and he was saying that his buddy out in LA said, hey, he knew the film festival, and he's like, you should go out there. I think he basically got him in to come out here, and he's like, well, I can't pass up the opportunity to go,
Yeah.
but he didn't submit a film, and I said, and he's like, yeah, I would have loved to, but I didn't know.
Yeah,
And
if
it
you
was
don't
too
know
late.
about it, or if it's too late.
And I told him I would check with you guys and be like, well, you might be able to submit it for next year if it was done.
Please
I said,
do.
because he said he really
Whoever
liked the
you
festival
are,
and wanted to come back
Taryn,
out. Yep.
Please submit.
It
Thank you
sounds
for
like an
coming.
interesting film too.
I mean, submit it. I mean, that's all I always say. And then, I also tell people, filmmakers, you don't have to have a film in it. Come out, enjoy the festival. To me, and I'm biased, but I've also heard from other people, we're one of the best film festivals for filmmakers. And I say that all the time. But even this year, if you look at our reviews, it's like best for filmmakers, like panels and networking. I mean, so many deals are being done, even with my stuff right now, because of people we met, people we worked with at the festival.
Yep. And that's what we had, I tell you this all the time, and each year that we've now done 3 years with you guys.
Yeah,
and,
that's awesome.
And ready for number 4.
Yep, there we
But so everybody asked also, and again, we didn't really have to even ask them. We may have asked them how they heard about the festival, but everybody automatically was just like, best film festival, best place for all the things you just said and more. Like, it's about the networking, the Q&As, the workshops. One, I can't remember who it was because we spoke to so many people, but one of them was just like, especially allowing the amount of time for Q&A. He's like, a lot of times you go to a film festival, it's you maybe get 1 or 2 questions and then you can't go any further because they're so packed. He's like, but they actually give you real time to really answer questions.
Yeah, so I believe in that. I'm going to make it actually probably better next year, but I had a little more time because there were a few times that was a little tight in between. I usually leave 15 minutes. That's the rule. That's a pretty good Q&A, 15 minutes. But, sometimes a movie is longer than we think, or there's always something that, or if it's a packed house and, some weren't, some weren't. So I'm for our 20th, we are working on some things to even make that even better experience. But I'm glad to hear that because that is something I want to give that opportunity. That's something that all the filmmakers ask us. All are you guys doing Q&As? And that's part of the reason why they come. If I said no, they probably wouldn't even come. Like, why? But they want to come and tell their story.
Right.
Which I think they should. But I also tell them, and come and network and do this and do that, all these things. So
nice.
Yeah.
And they also really like, and also the workshops and everything. Everything combined.
And this year we had some really cool, different workshops, like comic book to screen one, which is cool, like a graphic novel or whatever you want to call it. We had the Grooves guys, what's their names? Lollies. The Lollies did a whole thing. Did you guys interview them this year?
I don't think we got them, but we basically, we had almost everybody.
No, I was just wondering. I know that they had a lot going on.
They had their own thing going on. So they actually, we were going to, because there's the one girl that was actually their media person, I believe, or their basically interviewer person.
Oh, nice.
Well, she was a local journalist.
Yeah,
I think they got hired.
They hired her. Yeah.
And so we even wanted to talk to her. She didn't have time, but they basically, while we were up there, like they had their.
She was also checking to see if there was no issue with her doing that as well.
Yeah. Shouldn't be. Those guys like their media attention. So.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, it's free press. Come on.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm not going to ask you anything that a normal person wouldn't ask you.
So I don't think we got with them, but I mean, again, we got some of the really cool highlights that we're talking about. Obviously, Darwin and the crew were back around.
Had to get Darwin.
Yep. Your friend Rachel, who got to talk with us, and Julie, right?
Julia.
Julia.
Yeah, they were up in Tribeca Film Festival. Right?
Yeah, right now. This weekend.
So they were great.
And then we also came upstairs and they had another group. Who,
this is one.
Julie
after
and
I just
Rachel
left.
had brought up. We stepped outside to break for a minute, and then because you got to step away, and we were coming back in, and Steve Wilbur.
Oh yeah,
was in there, and he's like,
I got 10 ladies upstairs for you.
I didn't hear him say the lady part. I just heard he's like, we got people up here, and I thought like Darwin and the guys were waiting for us to go up there, and it's this group of women that did what did they? Which one did they do? I'm trying to remember the name of it. SOS.
I can't remember
something.
All the names.
It's SOS something. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you look it up.
Yeah.
So he's gonna look it up, and so. Paperclip, SOS Paperclip.
SOS Paperclip. Okay.
So
very good.
It'll get there eventually. Tony just needs to lunch. So had the group from there, but it was Rachel and Julia were up there and had brought them to us. Now, mind you, we had just met Rachel and Julia the day before, I think. And we had told them, hey, if you want to come back up again during the film festival. Well, they brought them up, which kind of made it feel good because it was like, hey, they liked us enough and they didn't know
Yeah.
us to bring. It wasn't like Darwin and the guys like they know us now and they'll bring people.
So they're just going to come up.
Which we always appreciate, you know.
Oh, yeah, no, I love those guys.
But it was kind of cool to see that, you know, at least they enjoyed talking to us enough that they wanted other people to come talk to us. But yeah, we get up there and like Julia's like in my station, and they're all just like sitting around. I thought they were actually.
You're like, oh, they do.
I'm like, that's
What happened, Tony? I was like, the show's running itself.
Finally, I don't have to do anything.
This is what we mean by passive income.
This is what happened when Patrick leaves.
Yeah.
Why do we invite him anyways?
That was the day he had left, so it was Saturday. So he had to go home. He was not looking good.
Oh,
He was
yeah,
bad.
no.
He could barely breathe.
So for once, I'm not making fun of you guys. But yeah. So then Sunday, was it Sunday or Saturday? I think it was Saturday. Caddy wanted, Caddy is.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah,
so
with Michael
he had-
Ajazi.
Yeah, he brought him up there, but it was just him and him. So when we got up there, but Caddy was like running the show. Like,
Yeah.
we went to introduce, and he's just ripping questions
just-
out, which is fine.
Yeah.
But he's like, he even said to Billy, he's like, I'm sorry, Tom, I'm taking it. I'm like, no, actually, this is fine. I'm done talking. So
I did the edit on that video. You can see him physically lean back.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, go ahead.
We're on interview 6
You know-
of the day. We're good.
This is off topic, but it's just made me think of a good idea for a future podcast. I'm going to come and I'm going to interview you guys.
There you go.
So people can get to know you guys better.
Okay. Well, why don't we
I
make
don't
that
think
an
you've done that
episode?
yet.
We have not done that.
All right.
Not really since the pilot.
Hey, your fourth anniversary
Which is coming up.
Yeah.
We
End
should
of
do it for
July.
that.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
We can
I like
incorporate
it.
it with Tavern Talks.
There you go.
Part 2.
Part 2.
No, I actually like that idea. All
Yeah,
right.
why not?
See?
Well, I
Yeah.
was just thinking that, you said, he just took over and was asking questions. You didn't even have to do anything. Well, why not do one where
Yeah.
you're the person being answered?
I would be happy with that.
I
That'd be
would love
fun.
that.
I'd be
So
like,
how did that make you feel?
it made me feel
So,
sad.
where did Patrick touch you?
Show me on the doll.
Tell me on the doll. Where Patrick touched you. Just so everybody knows.
Why is that an anatomically correct Ken doll?
Very correct.
Oh, my God.
So we had those guys, and then so that was really cool. But then also we got the high school team back. That was some of it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
college, but they came back and they had
Yeah.
their own films, and they came back, and actually the teacher recognized me and us and stuff, and said, "Hey, the guys are here again." And one of them had reached out to on our Instagram because they heard we were there, so they came back up. Same group again, really great,
Awesome.
really
Good to
great
hear.
time with them. Again, they talk like they're 30, 40 years old. Those kids are killing it.
Oh, well, that's
They're
the thing.
killing it, man.
That's the reason. Another reason we do the fest, right? And that's why I love that we have like the high school and college blocks, because all those kids now remember having such a good time. They're resubmitting, and because I'm getting it all the time, because you can leave notes for the team specifically for each film festival.
Right.
So it'll say, "Oh my, loved the fest. Had a movie when I was in high school. This is my first like non-school
Right.
feature or short or whatever." And I immediately am like, all right, I got to see what this is about, because that's the idea.
Yeah.
The idea is to get people like Darwin and those guys. They come back every year, whether they have a movie or not.
Yeah.
They had one this year. They didn't have one last year, but they still came.
Well, they had one last year with Alejandro.
Oh, that's
Yep.
right. Yeah,
They didn't have one this year, right?
No, they
No, they had two
had
this year.
two.
Two
Had
of
two,
them.
yeah.
So, well,
One of the
feature.
years they didn't have.
Yeah.
Might have been
Yeah.
the first
Yeah,
year.
they didn't have a
Darwin
feature, they
had
had
his
shorts.
that was no tell.
Yeah.
And then he had helped producer with
Yes.
the other guys.
Sarah.
Sarah, yeah.
Sarah. It's like Sarah of the Lake or something in
Yeah.
English, but it's in.
Who we
Okay.
actually got to interview the girl that was the composer.
The
Oh,
composer.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, that
Florence.
movie, because it's Spanish speaking, it has a theatrical rundown in Colombia and South America.
Oh wow.
Like literally right around the time of the festival. So I was like, that's awesome. It's a very good film.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, obviously foreign films don't do as well in America because everybody wants to speak English.
Tell that
But-
to It Man.
What?
Tell that to It Man
It
Yeah.
Man?
IP.
Oh yeah.
with Donnie Chang.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Yeah,
though. I
because
mean,
one
there
of
is.
because one of the three of us have seen it.
Yeah. Well, that's the
I've
thing.
seen 3 of them.
I love foreign films. I watch them all the time. Like Amelie is one of my favorite films of all time. But there's just a culture, I think, of it's not as. And also, we do a lot of dubbing. Like
Yeah. People don't want to read subtitles.
when I went and saw
Dubs.
the new Godzilla, I didn't want it dubbed. I watched it just subtitled.
Oh, Godzilla
Right.
-1?
Yeah,
I just saw
so
that a
good.
couple weeks ago.
So
it was
good.
amazing.
Yeah, it's so good to.
So much better than Kong X Kong.
Which still was
Godzilla.
fun. It was fun. I didn't like him throwing the best scene. Have you seen it?
yeah.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
Well, the best scene is that Kong takes his
Throw
baby
the
Kong,
yeah.
and he smacks all the people with it, or all the other monkeys with him.
Well, he had ended up hurting him,
Yeah.
and he comes back like he's injured, and he like bites
And
him
then
or
he starts,
something.
he starts
Yeah. He starts
So he
beating on it.
grabs him and he just starts
Yeah, so
using
Kong
him
gets
as a-
pissed off. I was like, all right, little turd. Fine.
and he just starts using him as a club.
Yeah.
To me, that was the best part of it.
Yeah.
So this is the way I compare it, and I'm glad they both did very well. And I'm a big Godzilla fan, so I always say, if you could tell 12-year-old me that when I was 40, we would have 2 Godzilla movies within 6 months of each other, and they were 2 of the biggest grossing box, like that would my brain would explode. And we got a Ghostbusters, and we got, you know what I mean? Like when I'm 40, I'm getting all these things that I wanted when I was,
But Godzilla -1 was amazing, especially when he's using his radiation beam. You saw all the fins out of his back just start popping up, and it wasn't like a beam; it was just like a focused tactical nuclear blast. Whatever it hit, you just saw a mushroom cloud.
It was so, and I love that because now Toho, basically every year we're gonna have a Godzilla movie. One year we'll get a Toho, and the next year we'll get a American version, a Japanese and American.
What's Monarch?
Monarch is part of the American.
Well, it's part of the inner.
Yeah, and we're also getting another
universe.
season of that. So,
Okay.
which I think that show was great. If you guys
I didn't
haven't
know
seen
it was on Apple or something. Like
Yeah,
that.
it's on Apple. But I think this is obviously way off top of the thing, but
There is no topic.
there
is
no
only
topic.
Doug.
And I'm a huge Godzilla fan, so I'm happy it's on Netflix. It's number 1 on Netflix right now. I'm like, this is so cool that people are finally embracing, and it's such a good story. But my favorite thing about it is that movie was made for less than $15 million.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Which is, if you look at the graphics in that movie, or I don't want to say it's not all graphics. It's what I think you should do, and I've said it a million times. It's a mix of practical and suitmation and CG, and it's blended together so well that it looks better than anything Marvel or DC or even the WB legendary Godzillas are doing.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like when he's in the water, that scene.
Yeah, so the ending scene when all the warships are starting
Yeah.
that gave me huge, like, that's a dude in a rubber suit on, like, a
Oh, it
sound
is.
stage.
Yeah. But it still looks good.
Yeah,
It's
in a
badass.
kiddie pool.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's just one of those things
Get
where
the rubber duck out of the pool.
I'm hoping, I'm hoping that some of these companies take notice of that, because it won Best Visual Effects as well. And the guy, someone said to him, "Oh, wow, you made this for $15 million." He goes, $15 million? Well, I don't even think it was that. Like, he literally was like, "I don't know where you're getting that number from." Some people were saying it was closer to 12.
Damn.
Yeah, for that. I mean, they don't have any stars like we. Our problem in America is you have to pay a star $1 million or whatever. If you have 3 stars, you're paying, half your budget's going to the cast. And then the other half to whatever.
I recognized one actor in that movie, and it was Godzilla.
Yeah, but to me that makes it a better movie. Because you're following the story of someone you don't know. It's not a Tom Cruise. It's not even the guy who's in, I forgot his name, the guy that's in the Godzilla Kong movies that or whatever. It's like, or the woman that's in it. She's recognizable. She's been in other stuff.
I think
Millie Bobby Brown.
No, different one.
Oh.
She wasn't in this one.
No, she wasn't.
No.
Yeah.
I would like I'd like them to do more deals, like, instead of taking that upfront money.
Yeah.
Like,
Take that.
for the actor to actually have some skin in the game, and for him to just be like, well, it was just a role, I mean, I know some actors aren't like that,
And
but
some
several
actors-
of them are like taking parts just to take them.
Well, I mean, I would say Willem Dafoe is my favorite because he'll do Green Goblin and probably make us $1 million because it's Green Goblin. He's like,
And then he'll
"You
do
want
The
me back?"
Lighthouse.
And then the Lighthouse, or he'll do the Florida Project for $0.
Right.
He didn't get it all for it.
And then get something like,
he got a little on the back end.
Right,
Sure,
so
and that movie did well.
I want 3% of gross domestic sales or something like that.
It's always like some deal.
Yeah.
And you're there like back end.
But he also doesn't care if he makes money or not on the back end because he in an interview said, "I just like the script." He's like, if I like a script, I'm probably going to do the movie.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of there are a lot of actors that will do that.
There's one main one that's because I've seen him many times in a lot of movies, and he has done big roles, but he's also done a lot of small roles. Is Ethan Hawke?
Oh yeah,
And he works very closely with Richard Linklater.
Yep.
And he's always said, I'd much rather do something like that. Like, I think one of his movies he made like, I don't know, like $50,000 or something or whatever it was. But he's like, he loves working with her. She's like, I can do what I want. He gives me like, carte blanche to do whatever I want.
That's also the trade-off, right?
And later in his career now, you've seen him be extremely selective with his project.
Oh, yeah. And I think you should be.
Like when he came out in Moon Knight, I was like, wait, is that
what?
fucking Ethan Hawke?
Wait a minute.
He nailed that. He nailed that role.
Yeah. Well, that's why he took out that long time. Well, all the actors did is when they did that movie with Richard. It's called The Boy's Life, I think.
Yeah.
And it was originally titled like the 12-year project or the 10-year project because they filmed it over.
Because the boy. It's called Just Boy.
Yeah, it was supposed to Boyhood or something. Boyhood. And so that it was supposed to follow him. So every actor was saying Ethan Hawke played the father. Of the son.
So you see them age in real time, basically.
But they basically had to make that commitment that yes, each year, every other year will come back.
That's when you have to get your friends.
Yeah.
That's when Richard was like, all right, I'm gonna call all my friends up because no one else is gonna commit to this.
Yeah.
Unless it's Marvel does that though. With Marvel, you have to sign up that you're gonna do so many films.
You have a contract for the next 6 years, at least 3 films,
technically
whatever.
Still have
2 TV appearances.
Yeah, 2 TV appearances and maybe 1 cameo in this and a movie to be named.
You're going to show up at Orlando and California once a year.
Yeah, right. Pretty much, and that's what they do, right? They that's how they like right now. I think they still have. Chris Evans is done with his contract. Obviously, Robert Downey Jr. But they still have Thor, Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, but I've heard that he's kind of
technically have Samuel L. still, don't they? Or is his
because he's Captain America.
No, Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, Sam Jackson. Yeah. I think Sam Jackson just call me, whatever.
Yeah, that's what he basically said. He's like, I think it was like the first.
Good motherfucking choice, motherfucker.
He's like, I'm tired of saying fuck so often. Let's go to a Disney film.
No,
have you seen the deleted version of the original Iron Man ending?
No.
Well, he says his favorite line, and there's a version out there where he says his famous line of like. Oh, what? I don't
Say
even know
what
what
again,
he says.
motherfucker?
Yeah, but he just says motherfucking whatever, and it's to Tony Stark when he's inviting him to the event. I think he says it's the motherfucking Avengers Initiative or something like that. And they're like, we can't use this, but they had to have him say it. It had to be on film.
I saw an interview with John Mulaney, who is Spider Pig in the Across the Spider-Verse universe, and he's like, they get him into the recording booth, and they're like, just have fun. Just do whatever you want. And he just starts swearing and saying the worst things imaginable. And they're like, so what rating are we looking for? We're aiming for PG-13. He's like, well, you can't use any of this. It's like, no, but you're having fun. We'll give you the script a little bit.
Sometimes that's what they want. Just get it out. Get
out
of your system.
All right, so you waited until the 3rd Guardians of the Galaxy to actually use your 1 F drop.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't Samuel L. that gives it. It's just so blatantly dumb that makes it funny.
And that's James
now what do? Open the fucking door.
And that's James Gunn for you right there. But that's you were gonna say something.
I don't remember what it was.
You started to say something. I felt like, oh, we need to make sure.
What was it? Just keep.
I don't know. We were talking about Sam Jackson.
We were riffing.
I love Sam Jackson, but that's the thing. I think with him, it's just call me. Because he shows up in the shows. They're doing another WandaVision or whatever. So
I like going to watching things on SNL because they'll do a whole lot of things. Bill Hader did one of Al Pacino if he was cast for Jurassic Park.
Oh, he's God!
Welcome to Jurassic Park, you dumb fuck! and it cuts back and he's just stamping around. He's like. Sir, what's the rating for this movie? PG-13. Oh, no. It's gonna be a big problem for this fucking guy. He's like, what dinosaur do I buy the cocaine from?
There's an episode of Jimmy Fallon with.
That's the movie I want to see, though.
I know. That's what I'm talking about. I want him to be the first thing you see when you get off that chopper.
He's like, welcome to motherfucking Jurassic Park.
See, that's what the MCU should do. They should make one separate movie that it's like. The movie you didn't think could get made, but that you want to see, and have like all like Samuel and all them as their characters, but as their other versions of themselves.
I wonder if Sam Jackson's going to be in the new Deadpool. We'll actually hear him say.
He probably. I feel like there's no way they're not going to do that.
Well, they already have Ant-Man in there. He's just dead.
That's just
the giant head.
It's going to be interesting. I'm actually really looking.
I'm really excited about that movie.
But I'm very curious of how they. Did you guys watch the cartoon X-Men, the new '90s?
I watched a couple.
So
episodes.
No, I really like
so
how
well
they're
done.
doing.
Like whoever wrote that needs to write the movies because they are. I mean, and the original show did this too.
Yeah,
it captures exactly what the X-Men are and who they are. It's hard to do some of that stuff in live action, and I love the originals. The original X-Men, like X-Men X2, those are great. After that, slowly.
Well, it's because David Hayter wasn't involved in X3.
Oh, really?
He was the writer for X1 and X2.
Oh, there you go. And also, the next three, they even though Bryan Singer, that's when Bryan Singer left and did Superman. And
which one?
X3, I think.
No,
Superman
which
Returns.
Superman? Oh,
Superman
the one with Brandon
Returns.
Routh?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
See, I don't hate it as much as most people. No, I like Brandon Routh. He got a shitty script. That's what I give him. The movie could be better.
Yeah.
And it's literally a remake of the original because it's all about, or one of the originals, because it's all about a land scheme.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Superman 2.
Superman 2. It's the same. It's all about him getting land and then putting, he wants it made out of kryptonite.
Yeah.
It's like the same story.
Yeah.
Except for this one had, Lois Lane with what's his nuts, Cyclops, and
that was Cyclops.
Yeah. Well, that's why he wasn't in X3.
Oh, that's why they killed them off?
Yeah.
Because he had to be in that movie?
Because they said you can only do one or the other. Because they're different studios.
At
the time, remember?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they're different studios.
Well, it still
DC.
is. Because, yes, DC and Marvel.
Yeah, so, and even then it wasn't Marvel, it was 20th Century Fox.
Yeah.
20th Century Fox.
Fox and Sony or something like that.
So, you have to remember that it was just, there was a whole thing. There's actually a whole story about those two movies and why technically they both were kind of failures, both of them, and they were reason. Part of it is this: they were both like batting each other because they stole Bryan Singer for that. It's like all these little things that
just didn't even need to happen.
Yeah, really, I don't think they made a good X-Men movie. A couple of the Wolverine ones were good. Logan was really good.
Really good.
I didn't like when they started doing the origins.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, those ones, Scott.
Those were
they did the Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine,
and they tried to introduce
the Last
Deadpool in that
Stand.
Yeah, it's like
or whatever. Yeah. Oh, speaking. Okay, have you guys seen the trailer for the new Venom movie?
Yeah.
Okay. Why is it called The Last Dance? There better be a dance-off in it. Is all I can say. If you're going to use The Last Dance, there needs to be some sort of Venom, like Spider-Man or whatever. Dance-off. Otherwise, why use that? I mean, I know that's a term people use.
Dance-off, bro.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's Save the Last Dance.
You're getting served.
Yeah, exactly.
What I find really interesting about that movie is it's slated for September, which is a dump month.
Yeah.
So Sony has no backing behind this one.
It goes back, and I think I've said it on this podcast. If not, I've just said it in general, people. It's Sony has a deal with Marvel that's called, use it or lose it. That's why we're getting so much Spider-Man stuff. They have to use the IP. If they stop using it for a certain amount of time, I think it's a year, it reverts back to Marvel. So we're just going to get crap all the time.
Wait, doesn't Sony
like Madam Web?
So Sony doesn't straight up own Spider-Man?
It's all a deal because Marvel owns Spider-Man in general.
Well, they were selling off IPs like that back in the early 2000s.
But no, they still own them. They were just selling the rights to use them. That's why Fox had, before Disney. Now Disney's trying to consolidate all that. So unfortunately, Sony's very much nope, not doing it. Even though I'm sure Disney can do it.
Which is why they got that horrible, never before. You can find it on YouTube. That horrible, I think it was 1992 or 1993 version of the Fantastic Four.
Oh, Roger Corman.
Roger Corman.
Rest in peace, by the way. He just died 2 months ago.
Great guy. I mean, he's very creative, very good.
He is. You can call him almost the godfather of most modern filmmakers.
Oh yeah.
James Gunn worked under him. There's a whole list of famous. Ron Howard worked under him. like all these like people who now are considered great directors. And the problem is, and I love Roger Corman, he never really, I don't think he wanted to, stepped up to that. All his movies were very campy, or just like that middle ground of like...
Yeah, he stayed kind of in the B level
Yeah, the
area.
B level, B plus level maybe sometimes. But I honestly...
So right next to Bruce Campbell.
Pretty much, yeah. They probably work together, who knows? I'm sure Sam Raimi knows him and whatever. It's that same campy... Sam Raimi went the next level.
Yeah. He did Drag Me to Hell. Which was...
I like Drag Me to Hell.
Well, he did Darkman, which was...
Darkman, I like Darkman.
Movie.
Darkman, Liam Neeson.
Yes.
Man. And that's why he got Spider-Man.
Bunny.
That's why he got Spider-Man.
Yep.
Because of
Darkman?
Darkman.
Oh,
And he was supposed to have something else, and that's why he did Darkman. Forgot which series, and they didn't give it to him. And he's like, well, I'm going to make my own superhero, kind of vigilante. Maybe it's one of the Batmans or something. And so he created this character, Darkman, who's basically like a Batman-esque character in a way.
With no money.
Yeah, with no money.
It's Deadpool meets Batman.
It's Deadpool meets Batman meets like the Shadow.
He just couldn't feel pain because of all the nerve damage.
I know, but I was just saying because his face is all fucked up.
It's almost like Spawn.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I also love that movie, and people hate that movie.
I like
it.
movie.
It's getting remade.
Of course.
I mean, come on, John
He's been
Leguizamo.
saying that. He's been saying that though for Time of Wrong's been saying we're having a remake for like 30 years.
Oh, really?
Since the original came out, he's been talking about it.
He watched the screener and said, "Nah, I'm redoing this."
Yeah.
But I mean, come on, John Leguizamo makes that as the
That movie, he is the best part.
That
of
is
the movie. Yes, the graphics aren't great.
I told him I wanted them well done, not burnt.
and you can't even tell it's him half the time. He in his voice, sort of. But like he's just this little clown guy. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome. But so some people, graduated or whatever, and that's how Sam Raimi did Darkman, and then he currently still has the record. Spider-Man 2 is still considered the best Spider-Man movie ever made.
Even with Across the Spider-Verse out?
Well, they may not count that because it's not live action.
Yeah, what the hell's wrong with you?
It's a really good Spider-Man movie.
No, they are. Those, I would say that is probably the best. The first one, and the second one's good. But I think the first one, you can't.
The first one hurt my eyes. The second one hurt my eyes a little bit.
Yeah, it had a little too much, like...
Yeah. It was doing that, like, old 1950s comic style where they had the black dots
little
everywhere.
dots, yeah.
And then, like, it was all neon colored. Like, I had to pause it a couple times and
You're
just
like,
walk
whoa.
away.
Yeah,
I'm going to go take off my glasses. I won't be able to see much, but at least it
at
won't
least
hurt.
it won't be a little...
At least I don't have vertigo.
Yeah, exactly.
I got vertigo at the play.
Yeah, that he got watching Clue.
Oh, did you really?
So we went to go see the
you
stage.
told me, was it good?
Oh, it was amazing.
Phenomenal.
Wow, Patrick, you're getting old.
No shit.
We were in the very last row, and, like, the wall was behind us, no one else. And we're looking down, and for, like, the first 10 minutes, everything's just starting to swirl and move a little bit.
Oh, shoot.
I'm going to sit back for a minute. And then I adjusted, and I was like, that's funny.
Well, I like... I mean, with all the liberties that they're taking with like a lot of the Star Wars shit now, I'm actually enjoying more of their kind of like their what if series of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, I can't. Vision.
Vision.
I think is what they're calling it.
Yeah, the one where they're...
And those are...
The samurai ones?
Oh,
well, that's the thing. It's
the
like
animation
it's
is different on each one.
director are like it's not the same person on each episode.
Yeah.
And some of them have a little bit of like the same like backstory intertwined, kind of a little bit like Black Mirror, but for the most part they're all their own individual episodes.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it.
And it's cool to see people make these stories into like a samurai looking or anime looking.
Yeah.
Because that is one of the like the seven samurai or whatever is one of the inspirations for Star Wars.
Yep.
Like he looked at these stories, from when he was a kid, he read about samurai. That's lightsaber is a samurai sword, basically.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And the Jedi are kind of the samurais and how they live by a code and all these things. But it's cool that people are integrating. Like, hey, let's
they've had a claymation one on there, like the British style.
Yeah.
What are those, like Chicken Run
and
Gromit?
Whatever.
Gromit. Walter and Gromit.
Yeah.
They had that same style of claymation with like the giant mouth.
Yeah, where it almost is like it's not all connected.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Another good one on Netflix is called Love, Death, and Robots.
Oh, that one's awesome.
A very good anthology series.
Oh yeah.
I don't think we're getting a season 4 though.
No. I would say the first 2 seasons were the best.
My favorite one is still the zombie apocalypse one.
Oh,
where it's like the minifigurines.
Yeah, it's a little bit, and then it starts with them having like sex in a
graveyard.
In a graveyard, yeah, and they knock over some statue, and all of a sudden this green flame comes up, and people just start rising out of the graves.
I like towards the end you can hear the president very high pitched. Okay, fine, fuck it.
Yeah, you can see rockets launch.
Oh my god!
I do want to kind of wind it back a little bit for a couple other things because we're almost at 20 minutes left. We got.
But we do this every time, Doug.
I want to do. I want to follow up.
Damn charming.
So what I wanted to ask
people what they want is what I say.
I want to talk a little bit about. First of all, hang on a second. I will get this out eventually. All right, their mics are going down. I can power that down real quick. No, because you guys got an event coming up next week. I wanted to give an opportunity to talk about that for a little bit.
So this upcoming weekend, actually,
whatever you can tell us about.
I
know it's been kind of posted out on the social.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, we invited through Tony Armour, who's our founder of the festival. He, through his job as film commissioner in Dallas, met the world famous DP Roger Deakins.
Yep.
If you don't know his name, you know his movies. You know
Shawshank
Redemption.
Fargo, The Big Lebowski, and basically a lot of
the assassination
of Brother Where Art Thou, 1984. Yep.
2049, Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, the newest Blade Runner. Yep.
Yeah, stuff like that. He's done a ton of movies and stuff, and they have a podcast called Team Deakins podcast with his wife, who's an editor. Actually, his wife is an editor. So it's kind of cool, and they both are coming to Tampa. So through that, Sunscreen is bringing them to Tampa. We're doing screenings, 3 screenings, the 3 of the movies you mentioned. I don't have the flyer in front of me, which I should look it up, but one night is going to be Big Lebowski.
Yep.
One night is Shawshank, and the other night is...
Is it the Blade Runner one? Or
No, it's Fargo, I think. No. It might be Blade Runner. Now I feel like I have to look it up.
We do this all the time, too.
Yeah.
I'm like, plus I was out late last night, so my brain's not.
All right, no problem, man.
And
so while you're looking that up, though, we'll just give little infos to...
Yes.
Since Doug used the term DP, Director of Photography, for those who don't know, which also cinematographer, basically it can be considered the same thing. Director of Photography,
they're basically the same. I mean, there's some people prefer cinematographer.
Yeah.
Sometimes the cinematographer is more hands-on with the camera than the DP is sometimes director. So I'm directing how it looks, but I have other people actually shooting. Yep. They go hand in hand, though.
And they're responsible for setting the tone and everything.
Exactly.
Like they know what kind of lighting to have or what they want.
They work with the director for, like, you look at Blade Runner. Obviously, he had sort of a template. Even though, I think it was a little brighter. Like, there's certain things that he did differently, but he had a template already. But then you go to something like Shawshank. You want that dreary, grays and browns.
Yeah. Have a whole lot of grit.
So, or Fargo, you want those grays and those whites, and the way it's sort of the composition of
it
how
makes you feel
blues.
Cold.
Yeah, the blues and
which is why a lot of times directors will have like a DP or a cinematographer that they choose to work with on all their projects.
Almost always, yeah.
So that's when you get kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, you would know this better than I would, Doug, but that's why. Also, why you get those things where it's like, if it's you can tell the type of movie without even seeing the director's name. Like, before you see the title, by the way it looks, or if you cut into any part of the movie, so like...
You mean them damn lens flares?
Yeah.
Well, or anything made by Wes Anderson?
Well, exactly.
So that's a good example.
That's a good example. Or in the 80s, if you look up Dean Chudley is his name, he did... And he did most of those movies in the 80s. He did Back to the Futures. He did... One or two of the Indiana Jones, and now you look back and you're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you look at their thing, they kind of have a look. I do like Deakins because his movies all have a little bit different look, but there's definitely things he does.
Well, Coen Brothers are very unique to their style too,
and that's part of it. But even like my favorite of his movies is that a lot of people haven't even seen. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's called The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. And it's about. It's actually Casey Affleck's in it. It's about Jesse James. Doc Ford killed Jesse James, but they were partners for a long time, and that's what the movie's about. But it's got this crazy and because it's set in the 1800s, it's got this like wash over the whole movie that almost
like
gives you that
Instagram
like,
sepia filter.
Yeah, but like even better than that. But, but it's still got depth, and so I feel like sometimes that like whatever. But it's just this. It almost looks like it was shot on something that would have existed back in the day.
Yeah,
like a washed out. Like if you look at old photographs,
yeah,
got one of those reels where you have to like crank.
Yeah, like it's almost got that washed out look because that's all they could, but that was a
the
choice.
Technology of the time.
Yeah, and that was, I'm sure, a choice when he shot the movies or when they were talking about doing the movie. Well, we want the tone. What's the tone? Oh, well, the tone is it's the 1800s. So it's not, sometimes they make these, movies that are set back in the day look so pristine. You're almost like it's a little too clean or a little too. Yeah, I mean, but I love Tombstone.
But it's a really good movie, but it didn't have the graininess.
Well, it's very clean, very. And even their clothes don't get that dirty half the time.
Yeah.
Like you're like
outside of Val Kilmer's.
Yeah.
That poor bastard.
Oh gosh. All right, so I'm going to tell you what it is.
All right.
So, on June 13th, Big Lebowski is playing.
Okay.
On June 14th, so I'm pulling up the full. It's Shawshank.
Okay.
Oh, 1917.
Okay.
It's the one on the
Gotcha.
15th, which is another great movie.
Yep.
Yes.
So it's a
That was the one with the continuous shot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one's cool. 'Cause that's different too.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's what I like about Deakins.
The only real cut of that is like when he passes out in that building.
And they do like a
and they
black
do.
whatever.
Yeah. It's a fade out. Yeah.
And they're probably, and this is something someone will probably ask, there probably are cuts. You just don't see them because the way they shot it. I mean, Birdman has like three sheet cuts in it.
So that was what I was going to bring up. I watched Birdman for the first time, and I think there was three
cuts.
Yeah, that's it.
And only because they had to. Because they just got to a point in the building or something where it was like, we can't fit through this door like this, so we have to, or whatever it was. But the way they did it was very clever, where your brain almost doesn't, and that's really what it's about.
Yeah.
I almost didn't pick it up, but we were following Michael Keaton around, and then Zach Galifianakis sends us a shot, and then we start following him around.
Yeah, that's
and
how
then
you do
we
it.
follow Edward Norton. I was like, wait, there hasn't been a cut.
No.
Like, we've been walking around in
So that's
circles
how
on
you
this
do
set.
it. You enter, it's like a play, right?
Like
you have
they-
someone enter the scene, and then the other, then now you're on that journey, and then you have someone else enter, and you're on that, and then you come back, and you're with Michael Keaton again, or you're with
Aaron
Emma
Sorkin
Stone.
did that a lot too on the West Wing.
Oh, yeah.
because they are always walking.
He's a
around.
fan. A lot of his stuff has Steadicam and.
Well, he liked because it was a metaphor for like making sure the story was progressing because you're watching people actually progress through something.
Well, and it makes sense at the White House, right? Because I feel like there's always this like, he's coming in the office to tell the president something, and now we need to find out what's going to happen. So instead of just cutting to outside, you follow them out of the Oval Office to their office where they're dealing with whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great. I love Steadicam. Ben and I's first big short film is all Steadicam, and we have two cuts in it, but they're hard to, they're kind of hard to see, find. We're not as good, but it was because we wanted to see if we could do it.
Yeah. So that's that was it's gonna be the 13th through the 15th.
Yes.
That's Thursday through Saturday,
Yes.
and then it's it starts at
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
There's also, and if you go on the website, or just search for it, the Team Deakins Tampa event or St. Pete event. There's also he has a book with a lot of his. It's like pictures of his work, and he talks about how he did a lot of these things, and he's doing a book signing as well.
Okay.
So he'll be. I say him and his wife because they both wrote. They're a team. Like I said, she's an editor, so she edits a lot of the movies that he works on.
I would love to see that text chain. Like, what the fuck decision?
Exactly.
I told you not to do this.
Well, that's what it is. She's very involved, I guess, in pre-production with him, like talking about those shots,
right?
Because she's an editor, which I always say it's nice to have your editor involved because then you aren't overshooting, right? You're not shooting stuff just to shoot it. You're like, this is what I want to see. This is what we need to put into the movie. So this is what I'm going to edit. Like sometimes it's like I've been on sets where as a producer and I'm talking to the editor and they're just like, I don't know why they're shooting this. Like I'm never going to use this shot. You know what I mean? Like because they're just looking at it like if you have a really wide shot, maybe a second of it you'll get.
Yeah.
So you don't need to spend more than 10 minutes on that shot. Or there's shots where it's like, this is the scene. This is what we want to see. Then you want to spend your time on those. So that's something I'm sure they work together a lot on, I'm sure, figuring out. Even if she's not the editor, I guess she comes in as some
like a consultant.
Like comes in and just works alongside him, I think, and just helps all that stuff.
So you're in the film. Is it commonplace for an editor to join pre-production, or do you not normally talk to them until you're at least almost done?
It all depends. Like, it depends. So, like, people like Quentin Tarantino who use the same recipe. She passed away a few years ago, but pretty much uses the same editor in every film. They will be involved early because they just want their sensibility. Most of the time, your editor does not come in until during production or even after.
Gotcha.
Okay. But it happens, and also because now, like, I'm an editor too, so I know myself. So sometimes you just start having those combos about editing even early on. But commonly, no, the editor comes in later and does it. And sometimes that's a good thing too. You want that fresh eyes on it.
Yeah.
Somebody who's, if you're on set, you're like, oh yeah, and that's fine for something you need to edit quick. Like when I'm doing a commercial that I need to get done, it's good that I was on set because I know what we have.
Yeah.
And we can cut that together. But a feature film, there's so many more moving parts, so much. Having the editor, not there is good because then they see the footage for the first time and they might see, like, I think this performance is better than the one that you said was good, So they'll actually make the movie better because they're not
seeing it.
They don't have that bias of I was on set.
It's like that rule they say, and I'm telling you it's true. If you're getting stuck on something, you're working on it so much, you got to take a day or two off because your brain doesn't see any of the flaws after a while. It's same thing with dating, right? You don't really see any of the flaws until after it's over, sometimes, or whatever, or even you take a break and you're like, man, maybe we are having issues with whatever, and stuff like that. Your brain just starts to, I'm sure when you edit sometimes the podcast, you'll hear something, he might say, there's some weird noise in that.
Yeah.
And you might be like, I don't hear it because your brain and your ears have gone, we don't need to see that. We don't need that anymore.
Oh, I hear his voice all the time.
Well,
I've been trying to cut it out every time.
How do I
don't know why I'm on a popular podcast where the only thing people do is listen to this Grady awful voice.
And then they get to look at your face?
I was going to say,
I've got a face for radio and a voice for silent movies. And yet I'm doing this for a living.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's usually how it works, though.
Yep.
Almost always.
But that's all I wanted to ask too, because we only got a few minutes left. But I wanted to give an opportunity. You said you had finished up, your 2 projects that you had done that were in the film festival. Is there anything you could talk about that you're working on currently, or have possibly working on? Or
So I right before the festival, I just finished producing a Christmas movie that will be out in probably late November. Obviously, it's a Christmas movie.
Is that the one in like Milwaukee or something?
Philadelphia. Pennsylvania. With Daniel Roebuck and Kathy Moriarty. Love it. So excited for everybody to see it. It's very good. I mean, it's a family, wholesome, but a lot of fun working on that film. That should be out this year.
Did you get distribution for it yet, or?
We're literally in that right now, in post right now. But that's our goal, is to have, they're all buying. So right now, between like July and September is when all the Christmas movies and stuff are bought.
Hallmark's probably in St. Pete making them right now.
They've already made, half of theirs have been made already, probably.
Yeah.
But
they have to edit out Lori Loughlin into some of them.
No, they don't.
Oh, yeah. She's in all of them. Is she back now from her college scandal?
Prison.
I was going to say, Hallmark in prison. Love letter from prison.
I didn't watch
that. That would be the one I would watch. She falls in love with somebody from prison. And so right now,
Conjugal Christmas.
there it is.
Sorry, I just popped it out.
No, save that.
Yeah, that's the one for Brazzers. That's the parody that gets made of that movie.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's just funny. And right now, I am in sort of development / pre-production on 2 films. One with Rachel and with Rachel, called Making Estrangements. She wrote the script. It's about her life living when she lived here in in Tampa Bay area.
Okay.
So that's why we're shooting it here. And then also we're shooting here at Fort DeSoto and a couple other locations. We're shooting a horror film or horror thriller called Staycation.
Okay.
And hopefully that will, and I'm actually directing that with Ben. So hopefully that'll probably come out next year, but we're shooting that at the end of the year.
Nice.
Fall-ish.
Nice, man.
Once it gets not so hot anymore.
Very cool.
Yeah, no shit.
Staying a busy man, and
Trying.
you're also going to be part of an in development project.
Oh
now
yes,
with,
I was
with
gonna
us.
say, and
We're
I've
gonna
got
be-
something with
Yeah.
you.
So
As soon as
we'll keep
he-
you
yeah,
updated on
say,
that once
As
everything's
soon as he
finalized.
can announce that or
Yep.
whatever, we'll make sure that gets out there.
But yeah, it's definitely going to be fun and exciting. It's
Yeah, and July 1st starts. I mean, we're
Yep,
already starting to
submissions.
work now on 2025.
Stitch
so we
your
got-
TikToks together and send it a movie.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
keep
there you go.
send us updates about that. That way we can keep reminding people.
Yeah,
And
so July 1st, you start submitting. You can either go to sunscreenfilmfestival.com or Film Freeway and just look up. I think it's filmfreeway.com/Sunscreen Film Festival. You can look it up. Submit. I'd love to see. It's our 20th year. We're gonna blow it out this year. Send us your films. And it'll be fun. It's end of April next year. I don't know the exact dates, but
Yep.
it's the last weekend. It's always the last weekend of April.
Yep.
Whatever that falls on. Usually it's like 25th, 26th to like 28th or 29th or whatever.
No, that's exciting. And then also we got in the end of July 27th marks our official end of our third year and beginning of our fourth year.
Happy
So
third birthday to us.
yes, so
Yes.
we'll be coming up to that and keeping you guys up to date is what we'll be doing for that. And then obviously we'll do that one episode.
Yeah.
I
that'd
think
be
it's a
fun.
really fun
I'll come up
idea
with
for
some
it. So
questions for it. And
nice.
We'll dive into the lives of Tony
Dear God.
Patrick.
Why?
Gavin.
Dun dun dun.
The Tony, Patrick, and Gavin Show. Dun, dun, dun. Would you like to play a game? Gavin, how many people have you killed?
The
And you
term,
can talk to
This
talk
week?
about it.
the key word is allegedly.
Oh yeah, allegedly.
And an indictment is not a conviction. But that is about all the time we have. Again, Doug, thank you so much for
thank
joining
you.
us, guys. We'll keep you up to date as to the updates again. We'll remind you again about July 1st. This coming up next weekend is Team Deakins event. We'll bring that up again. We'll do that in our post as well as a reminder for everybody. 13th through the 15th. Thank you guys so much. Until next week for Movie Talks and Chill, we are your hosts. I'm Tony Sperado.
I'm Gavin Butts.
I'm Patrick Wall.
I'm Doug Tschirhart.
See, this time they got it right.
Yeah, all right, for once.
All right, guys, take care.